Hello, everyone. We'll get started in just a second. Looks like a few more people are still entering the webinar here. All right at 2 o'clock here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Good day, everybody. Thanks for joining our webinar today. We are going to be giving you a product overview of ProjectSight. My name is Matt Trimble. I'm a regional manager on the ProjectSight team here at Trimble. I'll be acting as your moderator for today. Along with me is Jimmy Getz. Jimmy is a solution engineer on the ProjectSight team, and he will be the main driver of today's presentation. Just a couple housekeeping items before we get started. Throughout the webinar, we do invite you to engage with us by asking questions using the question box. The question box can be found on the GoToWebinar control panel. Between each section, we will have some time for us to answer those questions. For the sake of time, if we don't get to all your questions, we will follow up individually with you after the session. The session is being recorded and will be accessible on demand, so we will send you a copy via email tomorrow. And the last note is throughout the session today, there's a couple times where we're going to have intermittent poll questions that'll pop up. I'll flash them up on the screen, give you a few seconds to fill in. We do encourage you to participate in the polls. Real quick, just wanted to go over a high-level agenda of what we're going to be covering today. Jimmy will take us through our homepage, show us some navigational tools, and go into a couple of different dashboards on the homepage. We'll be exploring the drawings module, document control, field management, and budget and cost management modules. So with that said, I'll go ahead and kick it over to Jimmy to get us started.
Okay, thanks, Matt. So if everyone can see my screen here, I am logged in on ProjectSight. From a high-level data organization around your projects, we utilize a portfolio as a top level to organize those projects in either regional or division. I am logged in as Jack Clifton. He is a project manager of these projects. A couple other icons here you'll see at the top. The question mark allows you to look for our online help. We have how-to guides. We also have ability to see new features and functionality that we push out to the product. And as a SaaS-based solution, we're always iterating on the product. There's a support number, and then there's also an area to submit ideas around features and functionality that go to our development team for future roadmap discussions. Let me go ahead in here into the commercial division, and this will look at all of Jack's projects that he has access to. In this screen, you'll see here is the second layer in. It's somewhat of a log screen that allows you to see that data in a grid format or a tile format. This is consistent throughout ProjectSight when you're looking at different records, and it allows you to add additional columns and to view the data as you would like to see it. And you can filter and sort on the right side. And then at any point, you can save this view for later on to access that information. We're going to go into our University Student Union and Wellness Center project. And this is the project homepage. and it allows Jack to see a lot of different metrics around what's happening with the project. Each of these items here that you see and in these graphs, they're interactive, and they allow Jack quick access to these records. So I can click straight on these items and go into the specific change order, or I can go to a list of change orders. On the right side, we have items that are directly assigned to Jack, and they're broken down by module. He can also see items assigned to his company, and then as well, he can see overdue items that may live within his record. On the left side here are the different modules that we're going to talk about today. We have a drawings module, which is made up of two areas, one to load up those drawings in the system, and the second one to annotate and collaborate upon those drawings. We have a budget and cost that allows you to manage that project budget as well as contracts, the change order process, and then any kind of payments. Our document control is made up of these types of records. We'll focus on RFIs and submittals for this overview, but it also includes meeting minutes and issues. The field management piece, we'll talk about checklists and daily reports, as well as punch items. ProjectSight does have a file library that allows you to keep project-related files for quick access for your project team. And then we have a link out here to Trimble Connect. And Trimble Connect is contains a BIM viewer to view those models. And I'll show you a quick connection there that we can pin a model to a record within ProjectSight. And then the last area is just an external link. If there's any outside areas that you need quick access to, you can include them here on the homepage for your team. Matt, do we have any questions so far on the dashboard?
Yeah, actually, speaking of dashboards, one question came in. Can I change the dashboard to represent the data I'm most interested in?
Yes, these are the widgets that display that information. We have a number of them built out within the system. But as you work with the tool throughout the different record types, you can create your own views or your own widgets to load them up into the homepage here.
Okay, great. And then one other question, am I able to set up a limited view for subcontractors?
Yeah, so Jack is logged in. He is what we would call kind of a super admin role. So he can see all of the types of records in the system, but there is the ability to configure different user groups and security roles and grant them access from a module level to all the way down to a specific field level within ProjectSight.
Okay, great. That's it for now.
Okay. Let's go into the drawings module. The drawing sets, it's an area where you can load up those PDF drawings into the system. We utilize some OCR technology and some ability to highlight different areas of that drawing, such as the title block, to pull in data into the grid. Once you publish those drawings, they're accessed by the team members through our drawings section here. And here is a view of what I'm looking at is the current set of architectural drawings at a specific group. And at the top, we have a couple icons here that you'll see throughout the product, a print icon, and this is a kind of a download cloud icon. So within the drawings module, I can download these drawings as built as well if I needed to. And then if I wanted to include any linked files or records that are in those drawings, I can certainly do that. I can also print the details here, which would more give me the metadata behind the specific record type. Let's go into a drawing here and take a look at some of the options you have to collaborate upon that drawing. And then at the top here, we can see this is the current version of this drawing. So as we load in new versions of the drawing, we will make sure that we're delivering out that specific drawing and make it visible to that user that they're on the current version. We also have the metadata here behind the scenes in our info tab. And then we have our layers tab that allows us to turn off and on annotations. We also have the ability to compare different drawings to each other, whether that's different versions of the drawing or different drawings altogether. You see a lot of different annotations on here. That happens over here on the left side. I've got the ability to draw, to cloud different areas as you see, different shapes. This quick link icon allows me to quickly drag and drop to create a record type, like you see a punch item right here. You also can do text, add text to the drawing. And then another one to point out would be the calibration. So I can calibrate this drawing and then I can take area measurements, perimeter measurements, stuff like that. So let's click in on one of these. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and cloud an area and we'll just show you how to add a new record. So I'll cloud my area or I'll pin drop it and I'll click my quick link icon. And this will bring up my link options. So I have the ability to upload attachments, images. I can choose that from a library. If I don't have it on here already, I can upload it. We've got a drawing I can link to, our model view to pull a model from Trimble Connect, a web link, and then our record type. So the record type is how I created all of these different record types on this drawing. I'll go down here to RFI. If I have an existing RFI in the system I want to connect it to, I can certainly choose that, search for it, or I can just create a new one. And what that's going to do is keep me on the drawing. It's going to open up on the right side my RFI form, and I can go ahead and submit that RFI. We'll talk a little bit more about this in a second. Quick example of that model view. So let's say I have a record that I want to link a model to. So I can go back into my record type and I can see at the beginning, this was linked to a model for reference for collaboration between the different teams. And when I click on that, it's going to open up into Trimble Connect and load up that model. Here's a quick snapshot of what that's going to look like here. And I've got my other views here that I've saved throughout the Trimble Connect side. And at any point within ProjectSight, I can pin a record type to the drawing. So here's my model, and it's pinned down to this specific stairwell to give me a nice access view for my team to make any changes or to answer any questions that arise from this specific issue. Are there any questions that came through, Matt, at this point?
Yeah, just one question. So going back to drawing sets, what happens to the previous versions after I upload a new one?
Previous versions, yeah. So from the user perspective, when they're going to access the drawing and they go and click on the A201, they'll always be delivered the current version. Any versions in here that I want to go back and look at, I can select that version from a drop-down here within the Info tab. Now, one thing to note here is any annotation that I create on a previous version will carry over into the next version of that drawing. So I won't lose the ability to see that.
Okay, great. And just one quick point that I'll make on Trimble Connect for those that are not familiar with Trimble Connect. So think of Trimble Connect as really that data hub that allows you to store and organize your documentation, your 3D models. One way that I like to think about it is, you know, if you're familiar with like SharePoint or Box, it's like that, but with a 3D viewer capability. So the biggest difference and the benefit there is Trimble Connect is embedded into ProjectSight, so that you can utilize those 3D models in the construction phase, which is actually a pretty good segue here. I'm going to flash our first poll before we go to the next module. And the question that is going to pop up here: do you currently use models in the field on your projects? So I'll give everybody a few seconds to pencil in your answer. It's about 2 more seconds. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll here. I'd say it's pretty evenly distributed. I would say maybe slightly more people said yes, that they do use models. I'll note that, we're noticing that more and more with our customers that they're using models in the field. And to that end, actually, we're actually in the process of publishing an article that explores the use of BIM in the construction phase, where we're going to really get into and discuss helping you realize the full potential of BIM. So once that is published, we'll go ahead and be distributing that out to you as well. But Jimmy, if you want, you can go ahead and carry on with document control.
Absolutely. So let me navigate to the document control module here, and it's made up of these different items, these different record types. So I have action items, issues, meeting minutes, RFIs. These all work very similar. I'm sorry, excluding the meeting minutes. So the issues, the actions, and the RFIs work very similar. So I'm going to show you RFIs, and then you'll have an idea of how to input the data and what you can view on the log screen. But very consistent look and feel from record type to record type. So we land back on our kind of our log screen here, and what I have set up here is the information that I want to view for this. So I've configured my columns in this the RFI to give me the question and the answer in a quick visible manner. Now at any point you'll also see this import export icon that allows me to import or export to Excel. So if I needed to bulk update or load in a bunch of RFIs, I can do that through that process. I also have the print icon. So this allows me to print this log. If I'm walking into a meeting and I need to have something sent out before that, I can go ahead and run a specific report that I want to, and then I can go ahead and either email that, download that, or view that on the web page. Let's click in a specific item here, and we'll go into one of these RFIs. And we saw the screen on the right side before, where it showed, from the drawing module, it showed this quick input screen. And so that's going to be that metadata that you see there. So we have some different fields that we've got on different types of records. Now, each of these fields can be updated for the nomenclature as well as the dropdown and status. Those can all be configured on record type to record type. We can also assign this to an individual. So I have this assigned to Howard as well as Jack. I can do that individually or in a kind of a distribution list. Once this is assigned to Howard, Howard would get an email letting him know there was an RFI assigned to him. It will tell him the question as well as any most recent comment. Howard can respond to that email through his email tool, and we can capture that in our comments tab. Or Howard can click on a link and be driven right into ProjectSight to that specific record. Now I mentioned the comments tab, so this comments tab is also throughout the product. It allows for that collaboration between the different team members. So I can see the initial question, and I can see a couple different action items that have happened. And then I can see the answer was logged as well. There's also an impact tab that allows me to track and see if there's a cost impact related to this, a schedule or a drawing impact. And there's any additional information, additional fields that I want to add to collect data. Additionally, we have that history tab that allows us to see that audit view of who's touched the record and what data fields they've changed. And then if, for example, this is an RFI and there was a cost impact, and as Jack, the PM, he needs to go ahead and link that to a specific potential change order or needs to create one, he can go ahead and click that link icon. He can open up the different record types. He can go down to potential change order, and he can create one that will now link this RFI to that change order that he's creating. So within ProjectSight, you can link records together, which allows you to really capture a full picture of what happened or what's happening along those records. I'm going to go back into document control here. I'm going to talk a little bit about submittals. I'll click into my submittal item. And I've configured a view here for this as well. I'm going to go in here and click on one of these. This allows you to attach a file for submittal. So if this is a brand new submittal that I wanted to attach a file, we have a PDF viewer that allows you to add your stamp, annotate, collaborate upon that file. But on the right side here, I can see all of the details around this submittal. I can see the different status. So this is where the configuration of the status might be necessary, depending on the process there. And as it flows from item to item, I can reassign it to individuals at any time, and I can set different due dates for different people throughout the process. And I can also create a revision to the submittal. Some of the other fields we've got here on the submittal side are some tracking dates. And then any additional information we can certainly add as well. The last thing I want to show you was the meeting minutes. This allows you to capture all of those details going on with that meeting. So I'm gonna look at a completed one here. So we have just a few items on this meeting. They can be line itemed out here, and within each item, I can go ahead and assign different to-dos to people, and then we can collaborate upon those specific item numbers. Now, if I want to create my next meeting, what I can do is I can carry over from meeting to meeting, maybe standard information, but as well stuff we might not have gotten to on this specific meeting. So when I create my next meeting, it's already pre-populated with the data. Any questions come through there, Matt? Yeah.
Yeah, just one question came through. How do I create my reports?
Yeah, we have over 200 reports that are out of the box within ProjectSight. If you need any additional reports or any adjustments, you can either do that yourself through the project settings, or we can help you build out any other reports you're looking for.
Okay, great. Yep, let's go ahead and head on to field management.
Okay, field management. So field management is made up of checklists and daily reports. Those are pretty much the two main ones that are used daily. But we have other record types in here on the field side. We have field work directives, notices to comply, punch items, and safety notices. They all work very similar. They're just collecting a little bit different information within each record type. From the punch perspective, you saw that on the drawing, I can add a punch item straight from the drawing and pin it to a specific area. And just to show you a little bit more about, in this case, there's somebody who took a picture of a specific item, assigned it to an individual. It's as simple as that on the punch side. The safety notices has a few different fields around safety, and then notices to comply and fieldwork directives are just different types of records that you can assign to individuals to track information. Now the daily reports, let's take a look at those. I have a few here that are ready for review, so I'm going to click into one of these. So here's your daily report. We're tracking the weather, so connected to a weather station nearby, automatically pulls in that weather. We've got a labor section, so I can add different labor for different companies onto the daily report. If I have the same team here tomorrow, then tomorrow when I'm doing my daily report, I can copy labor over from a previous day to easily build that out. The next section is going to be the equipment side, so I can go ahead and track some equipment. I can add an item here, choose my specific equipment, go ahead and populate the rest of my details there. Further down, you have your notes section, which is ability to really add whatever else we need on that daily report, from images to documents. I see a couple checklists here attached as well. So if I need to complete a number of different checklists daily or weekly, and I need them attached to my daily report, I can either create them in the checklist side, or I can actually do that through the daily report. I can go to my link icon, I can click my plus icon, go to my record type, head down to my checklist, choose an existing checklist I've filled out, or I can create a new one. It'll open up my templates here. And I'm going to show you a delivery one because it's got a lot of fields on it. Material receiving report. And now we're inside that checklist module. So we navigated from that daily report into the checklist, linking the two items together at this point. And within our checklist module, you can build out your checklist. You have your category and then your different fields that you want to track. And they can be text box, date box, drop downs, radial buttons. You also have the option to do a kind of a pass fail button here. And then within each item, I can open up and communicate along each item. I can assign different items to individuals and make comments throughout my checklist. Once I save that and click done, it actually takes me back to that daily report and links it to that record. Then if I need to print this out or send it off in an email, I can do my print icon, and I can include whichever type of report I'm looking for, as well as any linked files that I want to include there. On that report, it's configured with your logo. So in the project settings, I'll add my logo. That way it will carry down into each of my reports when I print them out. It'll have my logo in the top left. And I'll go back to the main screen here and ask if there's any, Matt, if there's any questions that came in through the chat.
Yep, a couple questions here that are coming in. One, can you do inspections in the system? I didn't see a module for that, or is that in the checklist area?
Yeah, that's in the checklist area. Within the checklist module, you can build out any number of templates. You can build the templates within ProjectSight, or you can import those templates through an Excel process to build those different inspection reports in the system. So you can do that, yes.
Okay, and a couple people have asked about what are the options to capture images out in the field?
Yes, out in the field, you can use the mobile apps. So we have Android and iPhone applications that allow you to utilize those out in the field. So you can download that app, you can go into your punch items, and then when you get into that item and you want to, and you click that link icon like I've been clicking in here before, on the mobile device, instead of coming up with upload or file library, it's going to say camera roll or take a photo. And that allows you to quickly capture that to that type of record.
Okay, great. All right, before we head into our final module, we're going to pop up the last poll question before we get into budget and cost. I'm going to go ahead and launch that. Which ERP or accounting solution does your project management solution integrate with? So there's a couple options, or none, other. So I'll give a few seconds here and let those answers start rolling in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll here. So as for results, about 20% Sage, 36 Oracle. I would say the largest percentage is none or other, coming in at 45%. And I guess the only note I'd say about this is, this is an area that I think more and more of our customers are looking to explore with ERP and project management integration. One note on ProjectSight. ProjectSight is built with an open API, so the possibilities really are endless as far as potential integrations. We do have several customers that have integrated ProjectSight with their ERP and are having great success. And kind of what we're hearing back from them, kind of the main value that they're realizing is, the financial teams get to stay and work in the accounting software where they feel comfortable. And then the people in the field get to work in the project management, solution where they feel comfortable. But the benefit obviously is that the flow of the data is going back and forth and everybody has visibility. Everybody has access to the data when they need it. So integrations with ERP. Thanks everybody for participating in the polls. With that, let's go ahead and round it out and wrap it up with budget and cost, Jimmy.
Okay, thanks, Matt. So now I'm in my budget and cost module, and it's made up of these different record types. Everything starts with the budget, so let's click on the budget and take a look at that. Now, depending on how you're set up and if there's an integration or not, to build out the budget, there's really 3 different ways to do that. You can build that out within ProjectSight, item by item. You can also import, export into the system. So you can import a budget, or if there's a connection with an ERP, you can feed that data directly into the system. Now within that, I can set up in a number of different formats. So I can have 9 of these different dropdowns to build out my budget codes to allow me to add that. And then I can load it in a certain status, which allows me to either keep editing that in a pending state, or once I mark it as approved, it's locked in on the budget side. Now, a couple other items here. We have a transfer button that allows me to transfer dollars from one budget code to another. So if I need some additional dollars, I can pull it from my contingency budget item. And I can also group these in different phases or spec section or category to deliver this data in a different manner. If I do that, I get each category would give me, or each type would give me its own little roll up. I've also got my high level metrics here on the project. You can see the original budget, projected cost and the over under. Then I of course have my search icon, so I can go ahead and search. In this case, I'll look at concrete items. I'm going to go through this just quickly here to talk through how this data is populated. We're going to focus on row number 9 here because it has some data that I'd like to show you. But once you load in your budget, it's going to come in as a budget code, a description, and an original budget. Once that's in the system, then you can start working with the budget and cost module. And at that point, you may be doing some change orders on the budget side. Any approved change orders land in this column here. And so these 2 make up your current budget. Now within ProjectSight, you might have a few change orders that you're working through a process on. You're still getting approval on, but you want to track them. So they land in these 2 columns here, which along with that current budget make up that projected budget. So it gives you an idea of what your projecting costs are, or projected budget over all of those change orders in the system. Very similar on the commitment side, we have our $800,000 coming from our contract. And then we have a change order process as well through that side that allows you to see those different metrics all the way over to an over under that you're getting at. Further down the line here, we have our actual cost, and those can either be tracked with through ProjectSight, or those can be a push of data from an ERP if you're doing that integration on that side. So let's click into the budget code and let's take a little bit deeper of a look here. Now this allows me to see those same columns I just saw, but it's going to break down that roll up. So that gray bar is what we were just looking at, but it'll give me a breakdown of where those dollars came from. So it's you've got the purple or the blue, and you've got the yellow for the committed cost, and then you've got your actuals over in green. On the left side here, we have our original budget item. We had a transfer, so I did a transfer out. And then we have our contract. So that contract is hitting that commitment side. And then further down, we have the number of change orders. You can see a lot of them are in a pending revision state. And there's one of them now that's been approved. So those dollars are now committed and changed that budget to 820. So to manage the contracts, you can do that within ProjectSight. We're looking at a contract for the company Irish Concrete. It is a subcontract, and it includes a number of different tabs here to capture that information from a general perspective to our communication tab. We have the schedule of values, some more details, and then we have this change order tab that allows you to see from a contract level what changes have been made to the contract at this time. So what approved changes at the top, and then what potential change orders we have in the system. So what we're working with down the line here that we need to either get approval for or work through that process. So let's click into one of these change orders here. I'll click into this additional concrete one, and I can click this little arrow here, and it's going to take me over into that change order, where as an admin, I can unlock that. Whoops. Okay, I'm locked out of that one, so go back here. I'll go through a different way here instead of through the contract. So I've got my potential change order. So everything starts, all the change orders start with that potential side. Once it's created in the potential change order, then I can distribute it out, whether it's a prime contract change or a subcontract change. So I can group a number of different change orders together in that process to send it out to get approval from that subcontract. So let's take a quick look at a single potential change order. And we'll look at additional parking spaces here. And we can see a number of different items here along with some markups we've included in here. So here's our different items that make up our change order. And we've got our details here that I can go ahead and manipulate and manage, as well as the allocation. Once I know it's approved, then I can go and mark that as approved. I can work on assigning to different individuals throughout this process. And then at any time, I can update the statuses, and there's a locked status here as well to go ahead and lock that record in. Once they're approved and locked, then this now commits these dollars to that specific column on that budget screen to produce that roll up. And then once again, just grouping those together to send them off to that subcontract or out to that prime contract for that owner change to that contract. On the payment side, we can collect those invoices, capture those details there, as well as general invoices and applications to payment. On the applications to payment side, let me just show you one little report here. It'll give you an idea of what the reports look like, as well as some of the details we can capture within our reporting side. And this is mimicking that apps form that you see out there. Okay, Matt, are there any questions that came through there?
Yep, going back to the budget. So in a budget view, is it possible to ship columns as needed, or are the columns pinned in location?
Yep, these columns are all configurable. If I go up here, this icon here, it allows me to move them around. As well, I can also add additional columns as needed. So I can really make this view the way I want to see it.
Okay, great. I have a question, just more of a generic question. How much of the setup is out of the box?
Yeah, out of the box, good question. So the site I'm showing you is what you would see out of the box. The only difference is I've changed some of the statuses on the submittals and the RFIs. But any changes that you need to make around nomenclature, additional fields, those can quickly be done by the administrator through the project settings area. And ProjectSight is highly configurable. That it allows you to make certain changes just kind of on the fly as necessary with the appropriate administrative rights for that user.
Okay, and kind of along the same lines, another question came in. Will there be a long implementation time for ProjectSight? I'll go ahead and take that one, Jimmy. So the answer is it depends. You know, we always say we'll move as fast as you do, but there's a couple of factors that I think it makes it really easy to get started. I'd say ProjectSight is pretty easy to learn. The most common feedback that we hear, obviously, as Jimmy was going through the demonstration today, you saw kind of each module is pretty consistent, so it's really easy for people to learn, and it's very configurable, very flexible for you to get in there and kind of make it work for you. Jimmy did also show that there's some help sections and some online video tutorials that you can go through. And we can also utilize the import export feature that allows you to obviously in bulk add different areas such as companies or users. But along with that, we also have implementation services. So our professional service team works with you, obviously for a fee, to help you launch and those initial projects and help get you set up correctly and get your system configured correctly. So we have a bunch of really talented and experienced people to help expedite the implementation process and make sure that you are successful. Let me go back here. I think there's a few more questions, Jimmy. Let me just scroll through here. There's a couple of duplicates, but we have about 5 minutes. All right, so is there a way to hide comments from certain users or groups? In the example, obviously, if there's an internal discussion going on, is there a way that they don't want certain groups to see that? Is there a way to accommodate?
Yeah, I just got an RFI up that is closed, but at this point, when there's a answer logged, now this is what you see, right? So this is what the people who can see this, they would only see the answer, the question and the answer, right? But I can certainly show the details, right? If I had the administrative rights, I can go in and look at the details. But for somebody who doesn't, they would just see the question and the answer. So it really helps eliminate people seeing those internal discussions, especially if you're sharing this with outside team members.
Okay, and maybe we'll just do one more, Jimmy, and then we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up here. For RFIs and submittals, can you add fields to the form and log, like a certain discipline or spec number?
Yep, you can either repurpose a field that's over here on the side, or you can add additional information, so additional fields. And then when you're on your log screen, you have the ability to then pull in all of those fields that are captured on the form, both out of the box fields, but as well any additional fields that you've added to those forms.
Okay, great. And then I'll go ahead and take this last one here, Jimmy. What is the pricing approach? So ProjectSight, there's 2 different pricing models. One, you can purchase ProjectSight per project. So it would be based off the total value of the project. And that comes with unlimited users, both internal and external, along with unlimited storage as well. And Trimble Connect, the 3D viewer, that also comes with a subscription to ProjectSight. So that's one pricing module per project. And then we also have more of an enterprise-wide for all your projects. It's based off your gross annual revenue. And again, same thing. You would have unlimited access to as many users as you want, both internal and external, and unlimited storage and Trimble Connect as well. So either a project value or an enterprise license model is kind of how we do the pricing. So we're running right up here on our allotted time. So again, an email will be sent with the recording of this. I hope you enjoyed the webinar and learning about our new next generation project management platform ProjectSight. I will say upon leaving, there is a very short survey. If you would complete that, it would be greatly appreciated. Thanks again for joining us today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Any questions we didn't get to today in the session, we'll send those out individually. So thanks everybody. Appreciate your time this afternoon.
Thank you.